A lovely good evening and welcome to this very special program right here on Millennium Television. You are joining us live at our Longeka studios in Lusaka, Zambia. Remember, you can catch us live on our Facebook page. We are Millennium TV Zambia. Drop us a comment, a contribution. Would be more than happy to have you on this interaction. Today, we are focusing on the 2024 Multi-Disciplinary conference, which will be occurring later on this year, but basically we want to just find out a little bit of some details, and this program is made possible by the Information Communication University ICU in collaboration with the Zambia Research and Development Center ZRDC. I hope I got that correct.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we have a very interesting panel today to help us basically just give us a little bit of some information about what this conference is all about. Now, remember that later on you will be able to call through to the studio through the number 0770813728, and we will be able to interact with you using that line. Now, allow me to introduce my panelists this evening. First of all, on my far right, joining me is a lecturer in the School of Humanities at the Information Communication University, Madam, I hope I pronounce you correctly. Please, Madam Keresia Taranike.
Okay, I will have to say it myself here. So I'm Keresia Taranike. Yes, please. You'll get it eventually.
No, I hope so. I definitely hope so. And on my immediate right, we have Program Manager at ZRDC and Dr. Chisala Walia. You're very welcome to both our panelists. A huge welcome and a more warmer welcome. Since I made the mistake of the name there.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all. Yeah.
Well, we're definitely happy to have you in studio, and hopefully we can have a conversation and basically get more information to what this conference will basically be focusing on. Now, obviously, just to start it off, I would like to ask Madam Taranike to basically give us a brief about what this conference is.
Okay, thank you so much. So the 2024 International Multidisciplinary Conference is about bringing together different sectors of different countries and economies to come together and understand what exactly is happening in our world. So the theme for this particular conference is fostering knowledge sharing and innovation competitiveness for production enabled development. So the whole idea that we are fostering towards is to have a sustainable production. Yeah, as we are growing as Africa, as we are growing as a country in Zambia, what are we doing about the sustainability of our growth? So we want to come together as scientists, as entrepreneurs, as lecturers, as researchers. We come together and find solutions to the so much problems that we are facing as an African continent, and there's so much problems that we are facing as individuals as well, to come up with solutions, bring our problems, come up with solutions, share ideas, and so on and so forth. And all in all, our major concern is to enhance the development agenda within our continent, which will be sustainable. Thank you.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting. Now, obviously, maybe let me come to you, Doc. The question is always how. This is the biggest question is how do you intend to do this? How will this conference basically address the challenges of fostering knowledge sharing and innovation, like Madam said?
Yeah, sure. So for starters, I'd like to make mention that this is actually the third conference that ICU in collaboration with ZRDC is actually hosting. So this is the 2024 International Multidisciplinary Conference, which, as she mentioned, brings together different stakeholders across board. We're talking about policymakers, academicians, scholars, and many other people from the different industries across the globe. So this is not just a Zambian conference, but it is an international conference. So how are we going to look at it? How are we going to address these challenges? Remember that through this conference, the focus is about bringing together different researchers, different scholars who are going to showcase and present cutting edge research, okay, that is going to, respond or speak to the most prevalent, socioeconomic challenges that are facing as a country, as a continent, and as a world at large. Now, remember that this conference is hosted in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, as it speaks to the theme. The Paris Agreement speaks about climate change. So it is aligned to a lot of things, the 8th National Development Plan, and many other things. So how are we solving these challenges? So through this cutting research that is going to be brought forward, through panelist discussions, through different workshops that will be hosted, through different networking opportunities that will be provided for. So we are bringing people together and, them bringing different solutions to different challenges. Let me also make mention that this conference is not just focused on one particular field. No. So no wonder it is called a multidisciplinary conference. So there are different disciplines that are coming through. We're talking about law, we're talking about health sciences, we're talking about engineering, we're talking about humanities and social sciences. So it's basically a lot to look at as we look at the conference.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much for that clarity, because I was wondering why multidisciplinary conference.
Exactly.
I thought it was something to do with discipline. But basically, the what you're focusing on is basically bringing different professions together.
Yes.
And allowing for a discussion of some sort, to find solutions like you have put it. But now a question that would probably arise, obviously, is the key topics and area of focus that will be covered during the conference sessions. Maybe you can share the response. We can start with Madam, and then we move on to Doc. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So if you look at the key areas that we want to concentrate on, as Doc earlier mentioned, to say it's a multidisciplinary, meaning it will bring in the lawyers, the engineers, and so on and so forth. So some of the topics that we want to concentrate on are topics of climate change. How do we become sustainable enough to adhere to the climate issues? How are we going to be adaptable? How do we become resilient to climate issues? So those are some of the topics. And we're also looking at topics to do with sustainable growth. We are looking at issues of food security, like, for example, Zambia, typical of Zambia. We've seen the drought issues. The drought issues have led us into issues of food insecurity. How do we help each other to maybe find means and ways of mitigating these issues of food security? We can see that Zambia is basically just reliant on rainfall when it comes to our staple food production. So how do we then enhance the productivity of our staple food? So issues of food security will come in place. Issues of security as well, national security. Africa is so prone to issues of insecurity when it comes to fighting and so on and so forth. When we walked in, we were talking about issues of Kenya, isn't it? So issues of Kenya, which are very unstable when it comes to conflict and so on and so forth. So we want to bring that into the picture to see how best we can sit down as Africans, as people from the entire globe, and just come up with solutions and practical solutions that will be sustainable. Yes, Doc.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I totally agree to that. Maybe some other topics, key topics that we're also going to look at to include issues surrounding renewable energy systems. We're also looking at sustainable agriculture, like she mentioned, food security. We're also looking at issues surrounding sustainable urban planning. Because you know what happens in Lusaka when we have heavy rainfall, it's always flooded, poor drainage systems. So we're basically trying to bring across board different specialists from different areas to just bring solutions to these problems that we've been facing. Also looking at issues surrounding green manufacturing and industry technologies. We are also looking at issues surrounding social innovation for inclusive development. We're also looking at digital health systems. Because now in Africa, the issue of digital health systems has really come up, and that has really been a call from the World Health Organization to say African countries should basically or emphatically, invest in digitalizing the health systems so that even the people that are in the most rural areas should be able to have access to perfect, health services that should be provided for.
Interesting. But there's also this question of how then do you find a way to allow for these multiple anyway, I was going to use the same but for these different professionals basically to collaborate. How do you, is there, are you working on something that you learned before to make sure that, as all the professions come through, because one of the biggest challenges, I think, when we speak about bringing different professions in the same area is that if you bring me into the field of let's say a health practitioner, I will probably not understand what they will say, and then my job is basically to also make them not understand what I'll say. So how do you plan on working that out?
Okay, so entirely our major concern is trying by all means to say, when we're talking about development and when talking about issues of, maybe you spoke about the health sector, their major issue is prevention of diseases, right? So we're agreeing to the fact that if we collaborate, we'll be able to find solutions. So if we speak about bringing different professions into board, we are all researchers. There are researchers from the School of Law, researchers from the School of Humanities, and researchers from the School of Engineering. So we speak the same language. We try to find solutions to the perceived problems. We've got the hypothesis that we've set up from different disciplinaries. So if we try to find the solutions, the answers to those hypotheses, then we'll stand as one. So for example, you spoke about the School of Law. The School of Law will come and tell us the acts, will come and tell us the policies. They'll actually help us to come up with the perfect policies. For example, as a development economist, if I come up with a suggestion to say, for us to end issues to do with food insecurity, we have to diversify. We'll later learn a bit of maize and try to go into cassava and so on and so forth. What's going to happen is that a person who has taken law, who is a lawyer, will come to me and tell me, how do we enhance the policy formulation? So they are going to help me to go to the government and help them to come up with the policies. And if we speak about the people in the political sphere, they are the ones who are helping us to come up with the policies and the implementations. So if we bring them into the picture, what will happen is that we will not only have policies that have been formulated by the lawyers lying in the cupboards. What's going to be happening is that there'll be implementation, because we've got the political sphere within our environment. And when we speak about issues of sustainable development, we are speaking about a scientist, right? They're going to tell us today we've heard to say, people are saying we're actually expecting a lot of rainfall. And my question was, do we have a scientific backup?
Exactly.
So the scientists should give us a backup to say we're having food insecurity because of the rain. What can we do? Are we going to do the cloud seeding? What are the solutions that are giving us? So if we put everybody into the picture, yes, we might look at it as something very difficult, but trust me, we've got one goal. The goal is trying to ensure to say Africa develops, the entire globe is actually sustained, and issues of climate change are reduced.
That's very, very interesting. I like the fact that it's basically collaborating, bringing I'm good at this. It's one of those old stories that if you're good at something, get someone else who's good at another thing, then come together to make magic.
Exactly.
I think that's what you're trying to say. If you're joining us, this is a special program, and we are discussing the 2024 International Multi-Disciplinary.
Yes, you
Multi-Disciplinary Conference that will be happening at the Multi-Disciplinary International Conference Center. I will ask our panelists to give us the exact dates later on in the program. But remember that you can catch us live on Facebook. We are streaming live. We are Millennium TV Zambia on Facebook. Drop us a comment, a contribution. Tell us where you're watching us from, and we'll be more than happy to have you on this exciting program. Let's find out a little bit more about this exciting conference. Remember, it's bringing different professionals together to find solutions. That is the aim. So now let's coming to you, Doc. Obviously, I would like to ask what are your hope, or what are the expected outcomes and takeaways that attendees can gain from participating in the conference?
Thank you so much for that question. So firstly, I would just like to say that, like she mentioned, this conference is about a cross-pollination of ideas where different people come together with one specific goal. So as we talk about the expected outcomes and takeaways from the people that are going to attend this conference, the first one would be gaining comprehensive understanding of latest and emerging trends. Remember that through this conference, we're not just bringing people together. The focus is doing research on emerging trends, emerging issues from different fields, different sectors, and from different standpoints. So that is the focus. So the people that are going to participate in this conference will be well assured of gaining comprehensive understanding of the latest and emerging trends, challenges, best practices, in sustainable development, and many other things. The second one would be building networks. Of course, people attend conferences for different reasons, but the most important thing is for them to build a strong network. Remember that we're going to have different researchers from different countries, from different walks of life. There's going to be students, academicians, scholars, and this would be a great chance for them to just, network, share ideas, learn more about the best practices. For instance, if we have people from health sciences that are doing maybe the same research, that will be ground for them to even do a comparative study, even a collaborative study in the future. So it brings people together and helps them to create a strong network with a diverse community of experts. And then the other one is, access to cutting-edge research and innovative technologies. As they come to this, conference, they are not just coming there alone to do what they've come to do to present their paper. But the most important thing is for them to have access to some other information, to some other research that is being presented by other scholars and by other experts. And that basically is going to widen their horizons to understand, research from a different perspective. Because there are times that you do research alone and you feel like, I'm best at what I do, and, I'm second to none. And then you find that people are actually better than you. So actually, this is the time that other researchers, especially students, would take to learn more from experts, people that have published papers, people that have published books, to learn more on how best, to participate and to be part of this particular conference. So I mentioned 3 key points. The first one is gaining comprehensive understanding of emerging trends. The second one is building strong networks. And thirdly, to have access to cutting-edge research and innovative technologies throughout the conference.
Well, that's very interesting. Firstly, I would also like to mention that I'm stealing a word, cross-pollination of ideas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm definitely going to use that word in future. Basically, to our viewers who are joining us now, remember that our comment box is on Facebook, Millennium TV Zambia. Drop us a comment, a contribution, ask those questions, and we'll definitely be able to get our panelists to respond to those questions as best as well. Obviously, that's why they're here, to make sure that you understand what is going on. Remember that we are going to be opening our phone lines in a little bit, 0770813728, just so you can get a phone call in and basically find out what this conference is going to be all about. Find out where you need to be, how you need to get there, how you need to get there, and how you need to contribute in order to actually find solutions to some of these issues going around. Now, maybe before we can open our phone lines, I would also like to maybe ask a further question. I know you spoke about, how this conference aligns very well to some of the, to the 8th National Development Plan, to some of the, what do you call them, the SDGs? The SDGs. How confident are you that, they will produce results in line with those, with the SDGs and the 8th National Development Plan?
Okay, so the conference basically aligns to all these local and global agendas. So I made mention in earlier that we're looking at the 8th National Development Plan, which basically aligns with our theme. I also talked about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. I talked about the Paris Agreement on climate change, and also a cutting push to now having a circular economy. So there are all those things that come in. Now, how sure are we that we're going to have the expected results that we want? Of course, we're 100%, actually 200% sure that we will, because when you look at this theme, which is talking about fostering knowledge sharing and innovation, competitiveness for production-enabled development, and when you look at the SDGs from the first to the last, you find that when you talk about issues surrounding health, issues surrounding education, gender equality, smart cities and all those things. We talk about the Paris Agreement, just talking about climate change and all those other things. All those issues are basically embedded in this theme. And so any person that would want to, send in a paper that they would like to present has to be aligned to this particular theme. So, it basically has to be aligned to the theme. So everything is basically interconnected.
Okay.
Maybe I can add on to what Doc is saying.
Please.
Yeah, so if you look at the interdisciplinary conference that we're having, what we are doing is that we are getting papers from different sectors, right? So meaning we are getting research from different disciplines. And if you look at the problems that have been facing from time immemorial, problems have actually been found solutions using research. So if you look at problems to do with climate change, we are not going to get rid of climate change if we do not invest in research and development. So issues of poverty, issues of health, everything else comes from the background of research. So for us to say, yes, we are quite sure that we're going to attain what we desire is because we're using research as a tool. So once we use research as a tool, and what we're actually pushing forward is that those research papers should be published. If I do a research and I put it in the cupboard, it will not solve any problem. So the actual means or the actual rule in research is that it should, one, come to address a said problem, or two, it should come to bridge the knowledge gap. So if we have these research papers that have been published and put forth, we are sure to say, because we've bridged the knowledge gap and we've found the solutions to the most interfering problems, definitely we are going to ensure to say we reach our agenda.
Exactly.
That's very...
Just to add a point to that.
Please.
You see, when we talk about policy formulation, good policies come from good research. And so when you look at the government coming up with the free education policy and all that, that policy comes from good research on the ground, because nothing of that nature can be implemented, or not a policy can come to life without having someone go down the road, do research, thorough research on the ground, and then present facts to different line ministries. So as an organization like at the Zambia Research Development Center and at ICU, we basically work with a lot of people, a lot of line ministries, a lot of partners that are brought together, and we use this research that we've been conducting as ZRDC and ICU to speak to public policy and to many other things that have to be done on the ground.
Okay, that's very, very interesting. And with that, obviously, we open our phone lines 0770-813-728, 0770-813-728. That is the number that you'll be getting in touch with us on, 0770-813-728. Tell us where you are calling us from. Remember, as you call in, please reduce the volume on your TV set so we don't get that feedback and you actually get to ask your question. We are talking about the International Multidisciplinary Conference 2024, and our guests today are Madam Taranike and Dr. Walia, who are in studio with us, basically just giving us a bit of some input as to how packed this conference is actually going to be. 0770-813-728. That is the number that you are calling us on. Or yet again, you can go to our Facebook page. We are Millennium TV Zambia. Drop us a comment, a contribution. We would be more than happy to have you on this program. Now, let's have a look at our Facebook page. We see if we have a couple of comments coming through. Basically we have Mary, who says, following from Ndola Hillcrest, with Nakapula Mbusa Mlenga. Thank you so much, Mary, for being a part of the program this evening. And maybe as we wait for those calls to come in, I will ask, when we want to attend these places, sometimes it helps, when we know who's going to be there. So any notable key speakers, panelists that will be sharing insights at the conference?
Yeah. So let Doc break the ice. Yeah.
Of course, I don't want to, but of course, it's a very big conference, and we'll be expecting some official. Like I mentioned, we have great partnerships with international universities, international corporations, different universities in the country. So we're expecting top-notch professors from Zambian universities. And we're also expecting some of our partners in Russia, because we've partnered with the Pedagogical University in Russia. We're expecting some officials from there as well, and from the KAIST Research Institute from South Korea. So expecting officials to come from there as well, and from the United Nations as well. And there are some officials from the United States as well. So yeah, we're expecting a lot of high-profile individuals to grace the occasion. I
thought you were going to say no. We're expecting from Kawe.
Of course, we have some people from those areas.
Well, wonderful. Really, really amazing. I think for anyone out there who who would love to learn something. It's not just to go there and come up with solutions, but for people as well that would like to learn what the different disciplines can do offer. I think are they eligible to come through?
Exactly, yeah. People are eligible to come through. So as earlier stated, this conference actually is working with ICU, Information and Communication University, in collaboration with ZIDC. So if you look at it from a point of academic ways, even the school leavers are actually welcome because it will broaden their perspective at how to look at issues. And equally, they might be interested with the services or the courses that we offer at ICU, right? And equally, if you look at academicians from other sectors, like from UNILAS, University of Zambia, and so on and so forth. If they can come, we can actually exchange notes. Because as the saying goes, no one has a monopoly of knowledge. Sure. We might have the knowledge that they so desire. So in the process of trying to bring all disciplinaries together, it is a process of trying to ensure to say everybody is welcome. So you register and we bring you on board. Exactly. Yes.
Interesting. As someone who would love to learn, and obviously get access to some of the research that obviously this place will be overflowing with different research data from different disciplines. Now, I would also like to shift it to the aspect of fostering innovation and competitiveness in production and manufacturing sectors for sustainable development. What do you have to say about that bit? Let's start with Doc, and then we can come to Madam.
Okay.
Well, sustainability is everything. It cuts across. So look at issues surrounding sustainability. You're talking about issues surrounding manufacturing, production, and all those other things. Now remember that our country is at a critical time when we are trying by all means possible to push for more investment in the production sector and the different other sectors across board. And so it is quite important that the focus through this conference be that government and other industry experts focus on the research that is going to be presented in those different areas and see on how best they can benefit from that. Now remember, we have the energy crisis at the moment.
Yeah.
We have a lot of issues going around. There's a lot of COVID around, but at the end of the day, all those things can only be sorted when we have great data on our fingertips. And so we are looking forward to that time. Of course, I'm not saying that we don't have data currently. Of course, we have a base of knowledge at our IGM Jericho's at ZIDC ICU. We have our own, international journal where scholars across board publish their papers. So if you check out that link, you check out that website, you find a lot of papers of which government and some line ministries have been using for their policy and for many other things to do.
Interesting.
Okay, thank you. So I want to start from the basics. I want to define what sustainable development is. So if we define sustainable development, it will be easier for us to trickle it down. So when we define sustainable development, it is said to be the development that enhances the development of the current generation without jeopardizing the future generation from attaining their own development. So basically what we are talking about is that if we want to go technologically, our major aim is that as we are developing in the technological sector, we should ensure to say our development does not jeopardize the future generation. If we speak about the industrial sector, the practices that we are carrying out in the industrial sector, as we are manufacturing, as we are producing, as we are enhancing the productivity, what are we doing? Are we putting in mind the future generation? Because if we use, for example, if we go in the mining sector and we use all the resources that we have in the mining sector now, what happens to the future generation? So it's about sustainability. It's about ensuring to say, as we are developing as a country, as a continent, we have to ensure to say our future generation are given their own platform to attain their development equally.
Well, we seem to have a caller online. Hello, you're through to the program. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Hello and good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. Your name and where you're calling us from?
My name is Walia. I'm calling from Songwe.
Yes, Madam Walia, please go ahead.
Kanakatapa farming block.
Kanakatapa farming block.
I've been following your program, and when the lady was speaking about climate resilience and the need for research, I got happy because this is something that we are lacking as farmers. We don't have reliable information, especially from as far as climate change is concerned. For instance, we tend to plant early thinking, and then we are disappointed because the seed will have been wasted because there's no rain as it happened during this past farming season. So my question is, what can they do to help farmers? Is there any way that this group of eminent researchers that is going to gather can help farmers in Zambia to get reliable information, especially from as far as the weather is concerned, and also to go further and talk about the type of soils that we have and what sort of crops can do well in Kanakantapa. I think we don't have that kind of research. I think that is my major concern, and maybe they can shed some light on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Bwalia, calling us from Chongwe. 0770-813-728, that is the number that you are getting in touch with us on, and you can actually get to ask a question or basically contribute to the program. We would love to hear where you are calling us from. 0770-813-728. Would maybe one of our panelists love to respond to Madam Bwalia as we await more callers?
Okay. So, Madam Wale spoke about the fact that, yes, as a country, we are going through issues of climate change. And I think if you look at it from just the basics, it seems like us as developing countries are actually facing the climate change more than the developed nation. A simple broad line, it's because the developed nation have actually put early warning signs in place. So if you speak about what can we give the farmers when it comes to this research, we are going to ensure to say the farmers are given early warning systems. To say if it is issues to do with climate change, if it is issues to do with the rainfall patterns, we are going to tell the farmers to say this year we are actually perceiving issues to do with late rainfall. So what do? You plant the early maturing varieties so that you're not hit by issues of less rainfall. And equally, we want to encourage our farmers to go with the organic fertilizers. Yes, we've got free fertilizers coming from FISIP. Yes, we have it. But let's also consider to see how best we can go organic. We can make compost in our backyards, and we can also use animal manure where appropriate. And let's use, by all means, appropriate and non-invisible farming practices. We can go in the forest and do the forest planting. It's very possible. And we can go in our backyard and grow green vegetables which do not need fertilizer. So, Madam Wale, what we need is partnership with you. We might not have all the information because, for example, in Kanakantapa, you know Kanakantapa better than we do, right? So what we do is that probably we'll send researchers to do a research on Kanakantapa, but definitely the information is going to be coming from you as the community of Kanakantapa. You tell us what effects you're having and what is best for your soil. And that can only happen if we come to you and collaborate. And equally, when we speak about how we are helping you as farmers, definitely we are getting information and try to trickle it down and find the best solutions. But all in all, you have to help us to go green. You have to help us to go to look at issues of sustainability as well.
Well, we seem to have another caller. Apologies, Doc. Allow me to hold you just for a bit. Hello, you're through to the program. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Your name and where you're calling us from?
This is Mercy. I'm calling you from Lusaka.
Yes.
The lady there just spoke about using organic fertilizer. My question really is how sustainable is, organic fertilizer? How long can it last the farmer? That's my question.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Messi from Roadspark. 0770-813-728. The number is right there on your screen. You can get a hold of us on that. Contact Maybe Doc, you can respond. You can respond with what you wanted to say before, and then also maybe you can start it off with Madam Messi's question.
Yeah, sure. So for starters, I'd just like to acknowledge that, of course, African countries as compared to countries in the West, in terms of investment in research, African countries do not invest so much in research. When you look at our friends and look at maybe the business environment, they're able to invest billions of dollars in research, such that they're even able to make market projections for the next 5 years, what products and services, what technologies will be needed. When you talk about agriculture, looking at smart agriculture, looking at different things you can bring on board to ease the work that has to be done by different farmers across board. And so let me also make mention that in this conference, we are not just focused on paper presentation. There's also a side for exhibitions, where we're going to have, different industry experts. Okay, for instance, we're going to have some farmers that are going to come from India. We're going to share best practices on how they farm that side, the smart technologies that they use in agriculture. We're also going to have different people that are going to come through and exhibit different products, different crops, different things that they'll bring forward. We're also looking forward to bring on board secondary school pupils, because we see that there is a lot happening now. The adoption of hydroponics, aquaponics, and those other aspects that come in as we talk about smart agriculture and many other things. And so through exhibitions, through research, I'm sure that we'll be able to tackle most of these issues, because we're going to have a lot of industry experts, a lot of people that are going to come through and share the best practices in agriculture and many different fields. So you can take out the second question. Okay,
all right. So Madam Nancy asked the question to say, how long can organic fertilizer last the farmer? So the basic line is, we have to start from somewhere. Yes, the production of organic fertilizer, we can say it won't be as massive as the production of the artificial fertilizers. Why? It is because that government has invested into the production of artificial fertilizers that stand to be corrected, because we're actually importing more on the fertilizer that actually we are producing. So if you look at it from that line, if government equally can invest in our organic systems, it will be easier for us to move upstate. We saw the vice president of USA come the other time, and she visited one of the farms. Why did she visit the farm? Because one, they were using organic fertilizers, and the other thing is that they were actually into smart agriculture, right? They were being resilient enough. So if you ask that man the way he started with his farm going organic, he actually started with like a smaller portion, but eventually he started increasing. So Macy, yes, we can say we are struggling with the quantities, but eventually we should get there. Just like we saw just years ago, the issue of climate change was actually a rumor. I would hear about it, people saying we're going to have climate change, but now we can feel the hiss of the climate change. It started slowly. So for us to deal with it, we have to start slowly, and yet we'll get to our desired point.
Well, 0770813728, 0770813728. Maybe we can pick a few more calls before we can actually close the phone lines. 0770813728. We do have a few comments on our Facebook page. We have Lovisa, who's tuned in. Cordell, who says tuned in from Lusaka, Zambia. We need more of such. We have Mary, who's written to us saying we need more information on disease control when we face pandemics such as cholera. How do I access research papers as an ordinary Zambian? And Irene says, interesting program. Thank you to all our viewers who are watching us on Facebook as well as on TV at home. 0770813728. You can give us a call on that number as we pick a few calls. Now, there are two words that I jotted down. That I would like for me, because I don't know. You said something about hydroponics and aquaponics. What are those?
So let Doc tell us, then I'll get it.
Okay, so well, it is just a simple way of growing vegetables in your buckets, because most of the times people will tell you that, okay, fine, if you want to do vegetables, then you do ridges and then do all that. But with hydroponics, you don't need a lot of material for you to do your vegetables. You can actually have your backyard garden with just a simple built hydroponic stand.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, so we were saying that we were having some drip irrigation a long time ago. Yeah?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's actually a beta version of the drip irrigation, where actually we do not even waste water, because what we are talking about is that we've got issues of climate change. It is actually infringing on our water levels and so on and so forth. So if we are to enhance productivity, even from the agriculture sector, we have to ensure to say we are using every resource prudently. So when we are watering, we have to water just where water is needed.
Exactly.
We are not going to waste water. So it is a way of us having the new technology, the Gen, it's called Gen what? Jay-Z, yeah. Where we have to make sure to say we're using our resources prudently, and it's actually technologically advanced.
Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you so much for actually. As the conference hasn't yet even started, but we're learning a few things here and there. We're learning a little bit. Now, I still have a few more questions about the conference proceedings and knowledge shared. Will this be how will this be disseminated or made accessible to those people who may not be able to attend the conference? Have you come up with a measure?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Yes, we have. So like I earlier alluded to, ZRDC has a research repository where different scholars publish their papers. So it's called the IJMDR, International Journal of Multi-Disciplinary Research. So it is very, very accessible. Even now it's just ijmdr.net. You have access to different research papers from different fields. And then apart from the Multi-Disciplinary Journal, we'll also be doing a lot of policy briefs. Okay. Apart from that, we'll also be doing a lot of breakfast shows like this one that we're having here, an evening show where we'll just share about the best practices, about the research, about the conference, to just share with the people out there. So I think basic so policy briefs and majorly through the IJMDR, our international journal.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting. So remember, it's IJMDR. IJMDR. Wow, I don't know why I got IJMDR.net. If you want to get a hold of their research, if you are a scholar or an academician, please go to that site and basically get that information from there. 0770813728. We do get maybe our last call or two before we can actually close our phone lines as we wind up with the program. But another question is, how does the conference? So can you give us a bit of the details about the conference? I know I've been holding it from the people deliberately since the beginning. Can you give us the when, where, what time, and how long, and all those?
Okay.
Yeah.
So as she mentioned, this is called the 2024 International Multi-Disciplinary Conference, dear viewers. And the theme of this conference is Fostering Knowledge Sharing and Innovation Competitiveness for Production-Enabled Development. So this conference will take place between the 18th and 20th of December 2024, and the venue is the Mulungushi International Conference Center. Now, this conference has different tracks. Maybe for those that would like to, send in their research papers. So we have 8 tracks. The first track is Computer and Information Sciences. So for those that fall into this category and you have a research paper, you have an innovation that you'd like to showcase during the conference, you're free to share it with us. And then we also have the Engineering and Technology track. We have the Medical Health and Environmental Sciences track. Then we also have the Education, Curriculum, Design and Quality Assurance track. Then we also have the Agricultural and Natural Sciences track. Then we also have the Business and Applied Management Sciences and Social Sciences, Humanities, and lastly, we have Law as our last track. Now, the question is, who should attend this conference? So basically, looking for, academicians, okay, industry experts, technocrats. We're looking for information scientists. We're looking for innovators. We're looking for student researchers, for all those to be part of this conference. And part of let me just mention the dates. So the first one is abstract submission. So the deadline for submission of abstracts is the 30th of July 2024, and then the notice of abstract acceptance is 30th August 2024, and full paper submission deadline is the 30th of September 2024, and notice of full paper acceptance, when your paper is fully accepted, final accepted, is 30th October 2024. And then the final revised paper submission deadline will be on the 30th of November 2024. And so maybe most people will be asking, how do you submit this abstract? And so just visit our website.
Apologies, Doc.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe we seem to have another caller.
Yeah.
Hello, you're through to the program. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Hello, good evening. My name is Irene, calling you from within Lusaka.
Yes,
I
Irene.
have a question. So, I apologize, I joined the program a little bit late, so I don't know if my question has already been tackled. So this is an interesting program I have followed through, and I just wanted to find out, as an ordinary Zambian, how do I get to access the research papers? I believe this is a research institution, and also they're discussing quite a number of issues to do with research. And also my last question will be, we're talking about climate change and also enhancing productivity, but we have ordinary Zambians, like people that maybe in the rural setup, in the rural parts of the country. So how do they intend to break down the information so that it reaches every Zambian, so that it's actually very easy for every person to actually understand? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Irene. And I think with that, we definitely close our phone lines for this particular edition of this program. Thank you so much to all our viewers who came through, Madam Walia, Messi, and Irene, for giving those calls, as well as all our viewers watching us on our Facebook page. Thank you so much. You can still drop those comments on our Facebook page, and we'll be more than happy to, basically respond to, well, not we, but they will be more than happy to respond to those questions. Maybe you can. Maybe you can conclude.
Yeah, let me conclude.
Yeah, you can conclude giving that information.
Yeah.
Then you can give Madam Irene her response.
Okay, yeah. So I was talking about the conference key dates. So I mentioned that the abstract submission deadline is actually on the 30th of July 2024, and these other dates that are actually going to be, you're going to share them with our viewers. And then how do you submit this? I think we'll also share the link with you, so that you can also share it with those that would like to be part of the conference. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Well, maybe you can also now respond to Madam Irene.
Yeah, so I'll tackle the first part, you'll tackle the last part.
All right, no problem.
So the first part, how can you have access to, how can you access these research papers? So like you mentioned, just visit ijmdr.net, okay? It's ijmdr.net. So when you click on that link, you have access to different research papers. So if you are from, social sciences, humanities, health, or engineering, we have a lot of research papers, cutting-edge research that has been conducted. So you can have access to any of that.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll tackle Madam Irene's second question. So she asked to say, how do we have a trickle-down effect of information from ourselves to the ordinary Zambians or in the village? So if you look at it, the whole essence of information, it only makes sense if it's trickled down. It's the same with education. If I get educated today, I'm with my PhD, and if I do not give people information, it doesn't make sense whether I have it or not. So it's the same with the information that we're trying to put forth. So what will ensure that we do is that we actually circulate it to the local radio stations. If they are able to actually produce it in their local languages and give it to their people, well and good, they'll help us in those veins. And equally, if you look at our extension officers, they are privy to the information. So because we are actually talking about a multidisciplinary discipline, what we are going to do is that we are going to involve even the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Tourism, and so on and so forth. They should bring in the extension officers to try to get information from us. So whatever research we are going to carry out, we are going to ensure to say the extension officers are privy to the information, and they are the bridge between us and the local people, and it is easier for them to disseminate the information and to help the people to implement the same said strategies.
It's very interesting. Mainly because as we speak through the program, I am learning, and I keep learning a number of very interesting topic or touch points that will be at this conference, and I'm very eager to basically see. It's too far.
It's very near. I trust
It's very
you.
near.
December from the 18th to
Yes,
the
it's the 20th.
20th.
To the 20th. Oh, thank you. Official handover.
Yeah.
The leaflet. We'll definitely make that information available on our Facebook page as Millennium TV. Not in collaboration, but in with blessing
Yeah.
from ICU and ZRDC.
They can also have access to that information when they visit our Facebook page.
Oh, great.
This information, we're on Facebook. They can also visit ICU TV.
Okay.
That information is readily available. ICU, ZRDC on Facebook, that information is readily available.
Oh, interesting. Unfortunately, all things must
Come to an end. Yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, we are running. We have exhausted time, and honestly, all we can tell our viewers, I think, maybe I'll ask that our panelists give their last few remarks to our viewers.
Okay, I'll start. So if you look at our conference, right, it is a conference that was made for the people, right? So what we want is that the information that we're going to gather, it is going to be useless if it does not go to the people. So what we are encouraging is that each one of us should try by all means to attend the conference. If you do not manage to attend the conference, please contact us so that we can give you the information that was discussed, the papers that were published, and so on and so forth, so that we share the information. What we want is a comprehensive development. If we speak about climate change, imagine us fighting climate change in Lusaka and the people in Kaputa are
Global community. So at the end of the day, this research, this conference basically is going to bring different people together. So we're looking forward to hosting different academicians, different scholars, different students, different innovators, industry experts to this conference. Please register, submit your papers, submit your innovations, and be part of this wonderful and life-changing experience. Trust me, you will not regret it. It will be one of your most interesting experiences.
Well, thank you so much. Honestly, we are very happy to have you on the program. And remember that it is the 2024 International Multidisciplinary Conference that will be held between the 18th and the 20th. Or from the 18th to the 20th. Yes, from the 18th to the 20th of December 2024. Remember to get that information on the two Facebook pages, ICU TV as well as the ZRDC Facebook page, where you can actually get that information. Or yet again, you can watch this particular interview if you missed it, if you did not start it from the beginning. You remember that it will be repeating on Millennium TV, or yet again, you can still watch it on our Facebook page. It is available for restream. That is Millennium TV Zambia. Today in studio we were gladly joined by Madam.
Oh my gosh.
breathe.
Karasia. Yes, Madam Karasia Taranika.
Yes.
Lord. Taraniki and Dr. Chisala Walia, who were our two panelists this evening. My name is Kondwani Maplang. Unfortunately, this is where we come to the end of the program. Remember that this is Millennium TV, where we mean business. On behalf of the entire production crew, a pleasant watching and stand by for Millennium Tonight program. Stay tuned.
The Information and Communications University is driving the thrill for the nation in research and development. Enroll now for full-time and distance programs in the School of Engineering, Humanities, Business and Education. To apply, visit our website at www.icuzambia.net or call us on +260 211 221 662 or 0966 342 359. Sponsorship is available. Enroll now. The Information and Communications University is driving the thrill for the nation in research and development. Enroll now for full-time and distance programs in the School of Engineering, Humanities, Business and Education. To apply, visit our website at www.icuzambia.net or call us on +2